We're back with Shannon Young, and it's so much fun. We had such a ball in the last one, and I just had like a million questions more about angelic healing. And so I'm just going to get right down to it. And are you ready for action? There you go. That's right. Take two. You were very good about describing that you do a scan of the person, and it's usually through Zoom that you're working, and you do a scan
Yeah.
and you go down through the body.
hmm
I know that you had mentioned when we talked a little bit before that angelic healing can also be involved with psychological issues.
Yes.
I don't know. How does that come through when you're doing your scan, or does it?
A lot of times it's I get like anxiety from people or
Okay.
headache, tension in the back of the neck, like I had explained
Yes.
earlier.
Yep.
And also usually the GI is all jacked up. Those are my
Oh,
words. That's
okay.
the technical term. But yeah, I mean, usually someone is either having like a either reflux or IBS or that
Okay.
type of stuff, and or if it's really bad, Crohn's kind of thing, you know. So, and I can feel it. Even when I'm doing mediumship, when I'm speaking to someone on the other side and I ask them how they pass, they will give me some symptoms of head or a lot of
Okay.
times when someone, let's say, had dementia, I
Yes.
hear one foot in, one foot out. So with
Oh, okay.
dementia, they're here sometimes and they're not. So that kind of thing is like, I feel like I'm kind of like this. So when someone has the G, like a mental, it also feels like a hamster too, like running on a wheel that is like going 95,000 miles an hour.
Okay. You
It
you
just
can feel
depends.
that. You can feel that
Yeah.
that it's different than a person who's got a sore leg, and you're going to scan them.
y-
Maybe if they don't have that anxiety or depression or
Yeah.
whatever, you're not going to feel that. But then you know it when you feel it, right?
Yeah. And part of it too is like when someone does have a very, how do I say, a very significant disorder, there is
Hmm.
an energy that comes from them.
I
Okay.
see.
And the energy is very, very heavy. And
Okay.
I can't explain how the feeling is, but I know the feeling when I feel it. I don't know how to
No,
say that,
I
but
no, no, I know
yeah.
just what I know just what you're
Yeah.
saying. It really kind of defies verbal description, but it's
Yes.
you
There's
can
just a feeling
tell
and
it, yeah, with experience.
yeah. Growing up with people with mental illness. Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing too, is like, you know what that feeling is. And it's just like, okay, here we go.
Yep. Yep.
And
Yep.
sometimes you just be like, I'm sorry, I can't help you. And here's someone I recommend,
Okay.
because I'm not a
Okay.
psychologist and I'm not a doctor. And yeah, that's no. And that's a disclaimer I say like 15 times before and after, because I'm just not, I'm not, to be that. I'm just here to help. I'm a supplement,
Right.
like a
Okay.
vitamin.
Okay. Right. Right.
Yeah.
But you can help. Like let's say I'm a chronically depressed person. I've
Yes.
just always had it,
Yeah.
and you could help me with that.
Yes. I mean, I can help lighten the load, let's say.
Right. Right.
And they also give me suggestions once we're done, the angels do. And so that way they direct me to like maybe a book to read or music to listen to or something to that the effect. Or even just telling me like, look, they need to see someone that can help them further that you can. And then I do that.
Okay, let me just stop and we'll kind of talk about that a little bit.
hmm
And that is that in the beginning, you're doing the scanning
hmm
and you're analyzing, and you yourself can feel it.
hmm
And then you that can see what angel, this is kind of recapping, you can
Yeah.
see what angel uh,
Color. Yeah.
color
hmm
is needed, and
Yep.
then you can send that energy out to the person who's there on the
Yeah.
table or whatever. But then what you're talking about now is when that's finished
hmm
and when you've done all that energy interchange between the angels and the person,
Right.
then you, as a practitioner, will then sometimes receive messages. And now, are
Yeah.
those messages, is it like a sentence that you hear, or how does that work for you?
They come in different ways, but it's more of a sense. it's just words, I guess, that are put in my mind, and
Okay.
it's more of like, "This person needs to talk to somebody,"
Okay.
because
That thought just comes in your head.
yes, yeah, and as
It does.
someone who is always in energy, there's some people that are really good at blocking people in the real world, let's say, and you don't really know that they have an issue, okay?
Oh, okay, okay. They
So
they put the curtain down
yes, they put the
and
iron shield, really,
yes.
and
Yep.
when someone comes in for healing, they kind of lower their defenses, and
Okay.
then when I'm scanning is when I find it because I get behind that, and then I do my best to work on some areas, but then I'm like, "Hey, have you ever talked to somebody?" I'm getting messages saying that you really probably should talk to either a life coach or someone that can help you with this, whatever this may be.
Mhm, mhm.
If they'd say, "Yes, I've been seeing a psychologist for 10 years," I said, "Well, maybe you need to look for that life coach that to get
Yes.
better direction because if you're seeing someone for 10 years,
Yeah, and it's
you're still having issues, you need to change direction. You need to pivot
right,
and go
right,
someplace else. Not
right,
really
right,
necessarily go stop seeing that person, but like there's alternative stuff that
right,
may
right,
help you better."
right. I wanted to say about an experience that I had when I was having a past life regression,
Mhm.
and I just had a knowing about things. It was like I knew that I had been in this lifetime, and I knew what was happening and why, and it was very different because in normal everyday life, I see the issue and then I analyze it. I don't have like the answer kind of downloaded to me.
Mhm.
So when I had that, that was like, wow, that is
Welcome to my world.
okay. Okay. So that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah, all of a sudden you
Is
just know.
yeah. It
It's
it's
hard to
and it
explain.
was so I was
Yeah.
so it wasn't like, oh, I kind of know.
It's like
It's
you
like
know.
I know it.
Yeah.
And so that's what you're talking about is you get those.
Yeah, and my life is like that every day. And even if when I'm not reading someone, if I'm not
Okay.
healing, it's hard for me because like I know, like I said before, I know if someone is BSing me
Yeah.
and it annoys me and it depends on the situation and whether or not I call them out depends on,
Mhm. Mhm.
it's like, is it worth it? Is that where the fight starts? No, let's not do that today. But yeah, I know when I'm being fed a story, put it that way.
Mhm, mhm. No, but you
And
have these knowings in all seriousness, you
yeah,
know.
in all seriousness, it's really annoying sometimes, actually. Because,
Mhm.
like, most people walk through life kind of like, "Doo, doo, doo," and I'm like, "Mm, mm," like a head on a
Right,
swivel,
right, right.
and it's hard for me some days,
Yeah, I mean, you
and
didn't ask for this.
no, I didn't, and I'm very from the hip, and so
Right.
filtering is sometimes not quick enough to filter. The
Well,
filter is my
that's one of
topic.
the that from the hip is one of the things that attracted me to ask you to be on the podcast because when I saw you at that event, you were doing readings for 15 different people, one after the other.
Mhm,
And you had a very nice way of coming out. You were dealing from the hip, but you couched it in such a way that it wasn't hurtful or
for me,
upsetting to
yeah,
them.
I
You
mean,
put it in the best words you could, but
yeah,
it was straight from the hip.
yeah,
So that combination was not that common. And so, but I understand what you're saying is that's the way you live.
mhm,
That's who you are.
yeah,
So you've got these things coming to you all the time.
yeah. Yeah, and the funny thing is it's funny, not funny, I'm like, I swear I think I'm losing my mind, 'cause it's just not something that I mean, there's a lot more people out there that have abilities, they just don't understand what it is,
Yes.
and if if I didn't think I was losing my mind, then I probably would be losing my mind, you know what I mean?
I see. I
Like,
see. I see.
but yeah, it's hard. I had another coach and we talked about Richard LaRocco and he's like, "You're always on." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm always on. I don't know how to turn it off all the way. I
Hmm.
can do yeah, I can envision a light switch and flip it off. No. I can do the whole like sign flipping it in my head. No. I mean, it's always that way. And so I just deal.
Right.
It's just part of who I am. and I'm very straightforward, and I'm not everybody's cup of tea because I am very much no BS. I don't like to lie at all. Even little white lies bother me. So for me,
Right.
I really do my best to try and not do that.
Well, I can see why you really enjoy the angelic work
Mhm.
because you have the ability to really, really help people, and I'm sure that they express that to you.
Oh yeah, I mean the people that I have had with the healing have just been like, oh my gosh, that's just amazing. And I would ask them the next time I see them, like, how long did it last? And they're like, oh, it lasted for like a good week.
Mhm.
And I'm like, okay, good. And this is when I was doing it first, very first on. I'm like, oh, good. You have a week worth of woohooery
Yeah,
when you don't usually do. I'm good. I'm
yeah,
happy. So, but yeah, it just depends on what you're coming
right.
to me for. So,
Right, but it's not like it's a miracle and all of a sudden
oh,
something that they've had for 15 years is just suddenly gone. You can work on it and heal them and you'll get there.
well, what's funny is the one of the people that I was working on for testing, right? We were talking about testing,
Mhm,
and she didn't tell me about her ankle that she had broken. And I have started working on her ankle, and she's like, "Did you work on my ankle?" And I said, "Yeah." And she's like, "Well, you know, it's funny." She's like, "It started bothering me today." And I'm like, "Well, there you go." So those kind of things, like I just go to the ankle. I'm like, "Oh, you know, I feel like this needs to be touched
mhm,
on."
mhm.
So you just kind of go with it, and that's
Right.
kind of how it works. The angels do the work. You just kind of follow through. So
Well, I think it's fantastic,
yeah,
and thank you so much for talking about it and telling about it. I want to switch gears now and go into the other area that you do, and that is the medium work. And I want to start off by saying that I had a chance to have you do a reading with me, and I want to talk about that for a little while, if that's okay.
sure, yeah, speed dating with for mediumship. Oh my gosh, yeah,
That's right,
yeah,
that's right. It was at a fundraising event,
yeah.
and I purchased a ticket, and that got me 20 minutes of time with you, which was all I needed, and it was wonderful, and
Oh,
my
stop. Oh, stop. No, just kidding.
it was very interesting because I had had some readings before, and I don't know how it works on the other side, but my father hadn't really come to the table.
Yeah.
At, and he passed away 20 something years ago. And so, and in your reading, he stepped up to the table, but, and you explained how he wasn't going to really talk about things, but he admitted a certain characteristics. And I just thought that was so great because even though he didn't have some message like, "Oh, you're a wonderful kid and I love you
Yeah.
and let's be friends," but it was genuine because it was like, "Well, that's very much like my father.
Yeah.
He was not going to do that over here in this world,
Yeah.
and that's the way he is over there
Yeah.
so far." Yeah. I've heard that
Sometimes it takes a while. Yeah.
people say that when we go to the other side that we can continue to work.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So, depending on how the person was here on, so whenever I do a mediumship reading, let's just jump into it. I don't ask too many questions in regards to, hey, I just go with it. I just be like,
Right.
by the way, someone just pulled up and it feels like a father figure.
Oh, yeah,
And
no, you didn't ask me anything about it.
yeah,
We had never really had a conversation before that.
yeah, no, no. So, whenever I start talking to a person next, because there's still people, I mean, but let's say spirit, and I ask them, how much baggage did you bring? And they'll show me, like if, unfortunately, if it's like a child that has passed away, usually it's a little backpack, which
Uh-huh.
means that, they don't have anything going on. But like there's certain people in my family probably have 3 or 4 or 5 steamer trunks of crap that they had to bring over to the other side and unpack. And that's kind of like how I know in general. Plus, their energy is very hesitant when I'm asking them questions in my mind. Like, hey, and they're like very, very hesitant. Then I know then it was a tumultuous type
Okay.
of thing. But if they're coming through, that means that they are aware more than they were before in
Okay.
regards to what they did. Some of these people did horrific stuff, and some of these people did amazing things. And, usually the ones that do the horrific are the ones that stand in the background for a while until I can coax them in.
Okay.
And because usually the other one's like, "Woohoo! I was at your birthday party day before yesterday, and I loved your balloons, and I liked your packages, and happy 40th," or whatever, and that's one thing. But there are others that I'm like, "Come on, what did you do?" Like, let's go. And then, these are the conversations I'm having in my mind. Like, well, you rolled up on me, now you got to talk. Like I
Yes.
can feel
Yeah.
them, the warmth or whatever. So
And
it
they don't have to come through.
no, no, that's the thing is like, I want my mom here. Okay.
Right. Right.
Well, if you want your mom here, what's her name? Because I got to like fish her out of the sea of all the spirits because I don't feel mom here. I feel male energy. And then we kind of go from there and then we start talking about it. And next thing you know, spirits are nosy, by the way. If you start talking about them, chances are they might be lurking in the background and they might go, all right, there you are. And then come on in. And not all spirits resonate with you, right?
Okay.
So there may be some that don't really like jive with your energy. So they're not
Okay.
going to come in. Like me, I'm like from the hip. I'm very straightforward. So like your dad popping in, he
Oh,
was
he would
he,
not like your personality at all
yeah.
because you
So
wouldn't kowtow to him.
yeah, so that's why he was there because I didn't. And so he
Oh,
he he knows he knows a strong energy with another strong energy, so
I
he's going to
see.
come
I
in
see.
because I'm not going to let him BS me around.
No,
I always tend to get these energies that come in that people are like, "Well, I've never talked to them before." You're not the first person that said that. A lot of my readings are like that.
I see.
So it's just whatever the energy that they resonate with. Now sometimes I can like, "Hey guys, come on over, like can you please this person needs some sort of solace. Can you please come?" And they will give me little bits and how it's like playing detective and charades some
Hmm.
days,
Hmm.
you know, and they'll give me things that I know that I relate to, like my mom likes, ladybugs, right? Let's say that.
Okay.
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 And so when they show me a ladybug, I'm like, oh, I have your mom here. Like that
I
kind of thing.
see.
Like,
I see.
so things in
I
my
see.
world that I resonate with, then I understand.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So that's a
Yeah.
a symbol that means something to you.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
and then you can identify that.
Yeah,
Interesting.
exactly. Yeah, and
Interesting.
someone gives me a balloon, it's see like a celebration of either like an anniversary or a birthday, and 9 times out of 10, either their birthday's coming up within the next week or so, or they just had it, or an
Okay.
anniversary of some sort, whether it be their death or whatever. Yeah. So, yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, I very, very interesting. And yeah, yeah. And I also had some actually several people came through
Yeah.
in our session, even though it was not a long one, but I had people that hadn't come through before. And
Mhm.
it's interesting. I think it does speak to your, I guess, your power or your personality, your energy, right? They see your energy, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, anybody who does this is like a big gigantic lighthouse.
Okay.
It's like, you know.
Okay.
I
Okay. It's and
have rules though. Yeah. You have to make rules. Like no
like
one no one is
what do you
allowed to
mean?
come in my house without my permission.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like Fort Knox. You shall not pass. I'm like Gandalf, you know.
Oh yeah, I would think you would have to do that because otherwise you wouldn't be able to live. I mean, there are plenty of spirits out there.
Oh, yeah. Yes, there are. And in the holidays, family is around a lot more. Like I
Right.
like earlier today, before I started here, it's just me and the dog, Sage, as you met the other day, and I
Yes.
heard footsteps upstairs. I'm like, "Hello?" And nobody's there.
Oh
So,
wow.
chances are it's probably like my mom or somebody else, but yeah, because most of my family's gone. So they're just coming in with like, "Yay."
That is so interesting. I appreciate you sharing that with us.
Yeah.
That you heard the footsteps. That
Oh, yeah.
somebody was in the house.
Yeah,
Somebody
it
was there.
happens all the time. Yeah. Get used to it after a while. The kids are like, "Mom." I'm like, "It's fine. It's mom. It's mom. It's okay."
Oh, that is neat. And so when you start a mediumship session,
Mhm.
then you don't do an intake like you do on the healing.
Mm-mm. No.
I come in, I sit down, and then
Off to the
just
races. Yeah.
you just go. And because when you were doing that with 10 people in a row, I was just so amazed because I'm like, how does that work? You just went and just stood next to the person. And then now, do you like see another person, or do you just get it in your mind, or how does that work?
Everybody I look at, I can feel. So I have to mute it a bit. I can't turn it off, but I can mute it. But so whenever I am with you, sitting with you, it's like almost like I put like a bubble around us. So that
Hmm.
way it's just your
Okay.
people.
Okay.
The church itself has some people that reside there that are no longer living. So they
Okay.
also kind of they are there up in the rafters there somewhere.
Oh,
So
okay. The venue where we were at
mhm,
is a
mhm.
church.
And so basically it's just like it's almost like a thought that I do, and it's like passive thought. Like I'm at the table with you, it's you and
Hmm.
I and your people, right? Whatever people who
Okay.
they are, and that's who
Okay.
we're getting. And then once you pop out of my bubble, I'm no longer going to be with your people. You
Okay.
take them with you, right? Kind of
Okay.
thing.
Okay.
And that's why I say like with the 20 minutes, I call it speed dating with mediumship. It's like ding, because they literally do a bell, ding, and then you're like,
Yes, they do.
swipe left,
They
let's
do.
go.
They
Uh,
do. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, that's really kind of like what it is. It's almost like I have an energy field around me and you and whoever is with me and at that time. But people do have shields up when they come, and I'm like, look, don't cross your arms, don't cross your legs. And once they do
Oh,
that, because it's almost like, tell me about my mom. I'm like, okay, well, you need to relax. And that's what I did, like the box breathing thing, I do the breathing. So that
mhm.
way you calm down and then we're on the same page.
But
And
you have to deal with people who come that are really skeptical about your abilities to do this, right?
yes, yeah. And there's people that are going to come in that aren't going to believe anyway, regardless. But I try,
Okay.
I try.
Mhm.
And every now and then I get an eyebrow like, how did you know that? Well, I must be psychic. And I laugh. I like make them laugh. And then a lot of times they'll kind of relax a bit and that little brick shield will come down and then we can get into the meat and potatoes.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
there are people that are just really horrible. Like they don't ever come to my events. I don't allow that. I do
Oh, okay.
galleries of like 40 to 50 people, and I also do like the speed dating for mediumship,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I also do personal readings and stuff like that. If you want a reading with me and you want to test me, don't
Yeah.
don't contact me.
Yeah.
I am not here to prove to you things exist because they do.
Right. Right.
So, and there's that from the hip thing and my thing, like if you don't like what I do, then don't talk to me. Don't look at
Yes.
me. Don't look my whatever because maybe you are a doctor and you're a horrible doctor. I'm not going to go over there and be like, hey, you're a horrible doctor. You're going to get yourself jammed up anyway. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to go and be like, hey, Pope, I think you're horrible and you suck. Like,
Mhm.
never in a million years would I
Right.
ever do that. And
Right.
so, because I mean, I don't care. I mean, I love the Pope. It's okay. Whatever. Okay. It's fine.
No,
But I'm
no,
just using it as an
I know what you're
example.
saying. Even a person with authority
Yes.
does is not necessarily deserving of respect,
Right.
but
But what I'm saying is like if you don't believe in it, then why are you bothering that person or trying to hurt them or discredit them?
right.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. It's just like just walk away.
Yes. Yes. That we're not playing that game
No,
here.
no, I don't. I don't. 'Cause it's mean and hurtful and it does nothing no good to anybody at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, digress. There I go again. Off.
Oh, I'm very happy with all the things you're talking about. So
Yeah.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And do you ever get unsolicited communications?
Oh,
Somebody says, could you tell my cousin that lives down the street from you that I'm okay or something like that?
oh gosh, yeah. Okay, so it happens. It's so weird. It happens like in Target. Like I'll be waiting in line
Hmm.
and I'm looking at the cashier and I hear like, tell them not to go home the one way or whatever. And I'm like, I can't do that. Like, by the way, Amy,
What's your
I
name
have your great
tag there?
grandmother here, and she's like, don't go home that way. I'll just be like, hey, when you're just be careful driving home tonight.
Mhm.
I'll say that, and they'll look at me like, what the hell? I'm like, have a great day, and just be careful driving home. The traffic's a little crazy, something. You know, it's like the like Teresa Caputo. She goes into the deli. Oh my God, your mother's here, and she thinks you're slicing the salami the perfect way. I can't do that. Like that.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously
yeah.
that's a TV show and stuff too. So, but oh my gosh, can you imagine? Can you imagine? Let's say
Oh,
I come and see you, and
and
I'm
I'm
like,
minding my own business,
and
and
I'm
then
like, hey,
I
by the
meet up with
way,
you.
Bob says hello. And you're like, Bob? I haven't heard Bob. Bob passed away. Yeah, yeah, I know. Like I'm like, that is not okay.
Yeah. I have talked to people who are mediums and who have had people contact them and say, "I want you to tell my brother," or something or other. And I don't think that mediums like to do that, because just for that very reason.
It's
Yes,
intrusive.
spirit, you want to convey it, but
Yeah.
do they want to hear it?
Well, and that's the thing too, is like not everybody is like okay with spirits. And in
Hmm.
general, I have a half my clients want mediumship and a combination of a psychic, and then the other
Okay.
just want psychic. They want psychic is, and just to give you guys an idea, mediumship is talking to the dead, okay,
Hmm.
or someone who has Alzheimer's, because Alzheimer's is they're in and
Oh,
out. So that's kind of a combination. Like the Alzheimer's people from over here, the people who have already passed is over here. Psychic is here and now, like, should I take this job? Should I move? Is this relationship? Blah, 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 blah. That like that kind of stuff.
okay.
So that kind of thing where, so people need to understand that. So psychic is, you know, completely different. It's our plane versus otherworldly, you know. So
We haven't really talked at all about psychic
mm.
work, and I don't really think in that way. I just feel like what's going to happen is going to happen. But people want to know, right? They want advice as to what to do. Is that it? They
Yeah,
come.
it's like honestly, it's almost like psychically coaching people in some aspect.
Okay. Okay.
So some like I do email readings. You can send me 2 questions for X amount of dollars, and it takes me 2 to 4 days depending on what the question is.
Okay.
So, it has to be, like, specific, though. I'm not gonna like, "Where am I gonna be in 25 years?" I don't
Right.
know, and
Right.
neither do you, because everybody has free will. And
Yes.
so, I'll be like, "Send me the 2 questions, give me a pretty good synopsis of what is going on with that question." I feel into it. I talk to my guides, I talk to the angels because angels are really cool with that too.
Okay.
And I sometimes I'll even pull some cards just to see kind of where everything is. And then
Okay.
I will give my synopsis of where I'm feeling this, what I'm seeing, and what I'm getting. So it just depends on what the question is. And people have, like I said, people have free will. I keep saying
Right.
this
Right.
very
Right.
specifically because as soon as I give you any kind of information, free will kicks in. And you can say, "Well, that never happened. You said it should be, like, within the, like, 6 months to a year."
Hmm.
I said,
Hmm.
"But what did you do differently
Yes.
after I
Yes.
gave you the information?
Right.
Had you been on the same trajectory and not changed anything,
Right.
then it would have more likely
As we
happen."
sit here at this moment, that's what I'm
Exactly.
getting.
It's in the
It
moment.
may not be the same 2 days from now.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, because we have free will and the other people have free will, and people change your trajectory every single day. So, it's yeah.
That is so neat. Now, if I wanted to get your services for healing or for mediumship or psychic abilities,
Mhm.
how do I get in touch with you?
The best way to get in touch with me, well, you can go to my website, which is theintuitivemedium.net
Well, let me just
or
say that again.
the
Theintuitivemedium.net is
mhm,
your website.
yep, that's my
Oh,
website.
great.
And then you can also email me at symedium222 at gmail.com.
Okay. SYmedium222
Mm-hmm.
at
Gmail.com.
gmail.com.
Yep.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
fantastic. That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
My site doesn't have a lot of openings that you can really book too much because especially with new clients, I always want them to really email me first because I, want to go back and forth and kind of talk to you a bit.
Okay.
Um, Plus, I do other things other than mediumship, but we
Right.
talked about, and
Right.
I'm not always available to do certain healings or whatever. So, and my life is a little crazy.
Okay. Well, that's, I guess, good and bad, right?
Yeah,
So,
well, it's good. Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's really all around. It's just you just got to balance it. It's all about balance.
yes, yes. I have really enjoyed getting to know you more through this interview and talking with you. And I'm just so psyched to get this out to people that they can see and then learn about these things and enjoy some time together with us.
Yeah,
So, thank you so much, Shannon.
you are very welcome, and thank you for bringing me on your podcast. I'm like so excited. Never done that before.
Well, now you're a veteran.
Oh wow.
Whatever that and $4 will get you a cup of coffee at
Not
Starbucks, right?
anymore. Starbucks is like $6 now. Like, come on now. No, just kidding.
All right. Take care. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Yep.
Thank you.
You too.
Yeah. Bye.